Greetings to my Facebook family and friends, YouTube family and friends, to those that are looking at this for the first time. I say welcome and thank you for your attention. I am here today to present the second half of Diabetes Part 2. The disease of self-rejection and neglect. This presentation will be more on. It will give a little bit more about the natural side as far as nutrition and exercise. I'll touch on those. A lot of that though is common sense. Because when it comes to your health, many of us know that you're supposed to have a good diet. You're supposed to have a reasonable amount of exercise. You're supposed to have a good mind. You're supposed to have all these things, nutrition, drink plenty of water, all of these things. So that's why in part 1 I didn't touch on it too much, because a lot of it is common sense. Now, for those that don't know, then it's not common sense to you because you just don't know, and there's nothing wrong with that. So therefore, I will touch on some things, and I implore you to do your own research as well. Don't just take my word for it. Do your own research. Find out, because you may find out things that I might have missed in my presentation, or that I might not could have covered due to time. So do your own research. If you find something that I said wrong during your research, email me. Reply on the YouTube. Nelson, you said this wrong. This needs to be this way and that way, and I'll correct myself. So feel free to communicate. Feel free to do any of that. But this is why I'm here, to help as much as possible. Just so you know, I wrote a lot of it down, pretty much all of it. So I will be doing a lot of reading. And in between, I may explain some things, but I will be doing a lot of reading. So just so you know, just bear with me. So, as we mentioned in part 1 of this subject, diabetes is a disease that is metaphysically caused by self-rejection and neglect to yourself. Metaphysically being it is a form of holistic healing. It doesn't necessarily deal with medicines. It doesn't necessarily deal with nutrition. It deals with your mind. It deals with your actions. It deals with your belief system. It deals with how you think about yourself and the things that you do. So this is the aspect I'm taking it from, a metaphysical aspect, as well as a spiritual aspect and a nutritional, natural aspect. So like I said, it is a disease that metaphysically is caused by self-rejection and neglect to yourself. Along with that, you have stress, which can cause the organs to malfunction by the way of developing poor diet, such as eating too many sweets and increased carbohydrates, because this is what you feel will comfort you. They always got that what they call the comfort food. And comfort food ain't nothing but sweets or sugars, things that will harm you one way or another. So we don't want to get into where we're dealing with those comfort foods, so to speak. If you're feeling bad, if you're feeling rejected, neglected, whatever, from someone that's outside yourself, your partner, your mate, your husband, your wife, whatever, then eat healthy food. Go out for a walk, exercise, do something that will take your mind off of it. Go and comfort or help somebody else, that will take your mind off of it. That way you're not so stuck into the negative aspect of life, but you're doing something positive to counteract that negativity. So we don't want to allow stress to cause depression, because it can cause that. And it can cause you not to even want to get up and go and do any exercise, or even just get out of the house for that matter. You know, one way or another, these habits will find its way into the realm of diabetes. Today we will finish up in talking about how to prevent this disease and why to counteract, how to prevent this disease and ways to counteract it on the physical, mental, and spiritual level. Alright, so let's just get right into it. That was an introduction. Let's just get right into it. You know, and let's identify what most people can identify with, which is the physical counteraction part. And the reality of it all is that people in general are just lazy. We're lazy because we don't feel like, or we don't want to get up and do for ourselves. We're in a society today of fast, quick, in a hurry. You know, I want it right now. You know, I don't want to wait for it. I don't want to even work for it. I don't want to go up and get it. Bring it to me. You know, and that's the bad mentality to have. You know, most people are uninspired, uneducated when it comes to their health, and easily discouraged. Lazy because they don't want to get up and go, as I said before, and they don't even want to go walk around the block or even to the mailbox. You have some people that say, if I could drive to the mailbox, I would. That's just lazy. You know, they're uninspired because they are taught, because when they are talked about, when they are taught to about getting up and doing something for themselves, they don't see themselves doing it. Even something as simple as eating green and leafy vegetables. You know, you can tell people all day long, eat your vegetables, eat these, eat that. I don't like onions. I don't like spinach. I don't like romaine lettuce. You know, but you eat it on a burger maybe. But even if you eat it on a burger, it's still diluted with the chemicals and with the fats and with all the bad stuff. So it ain't doing you any good. So, you know, I know for myself, I have moments where I can be uninspired, especially when it comes to going to the gym. However, I'm going to eat my vegetables. I'm going to eat my fruits and so forth. But I know that I may not go to the gym, but I'm going to go to that park and walk around that trail about 10, 15, 20 times. Because that right there is not only exercise, but it's also a form of meditation. It's also a form of peace and a realization, because I'm able to relieve stress through thinking, through praying, through speaking, whatever I'm doing while I'm out there. And it's healing to me. So in that case, we have to find our healing methods and be able to go to that and do that. And in this case, eating vegetables is a healing method because it's flushing your system out, it's helping to regain the strength, it's putting back that natural flora, that natural algae green in your body that your body can utilize and help expel all the toxins and so forth that's in your body. So you want to definitely eat healthy, eat the green vegetables, eat your spinach, eat your romaine lettuce, the dark leafy greens. That's the healthy stuff. That water, I can't remember right now, but the water something lettuce, not watercress, it's something else. But that lettuce don't do nothing but give you gas, and it ain't good for you. It's just roughage. That's not good for you. But the dark leafy green lettuce and the spinach and so forth, that's what's good for you. So you know, you want to stay inspired to help yourself. People are uneducated about health because they go to the pharmaceuticals and the doctors and they take their word for gospel instead of doing their own research and finding out for themselves what the ailment is that the doctor has put on them and how to naturally fight it. They would rather easily be discouraged by what the doctor has told them. And, you know, which reminds me of a guy. I talked to a man recently, And I was trying to encourage him about the natural way of healing. And I invited him to come to a session and so forth, which he was more into the fact of believing the doctor and saying that I would rather stay with the antibiotics that the doctor is giving me instead of trying something new, like holistic stuff like that, though it does work. And I'm like, well, first of all, if you know it works, why wouldn't you change? Secondly, you talking about the antibiotics and saying how it's killing it's killing the bad viruses that's in you, and that's a lie. The antibiotics is killing you, period. Because you break the word down, anti means against, bio is life, ic, the IC means pertaining to. So therefore, the antibiotic is against your life. Against pertaining to your life. It's killing you, in other words. Now you can get probiotics, which is for your life, which is to help you, but the anti is against. And you don't want nothing anti going into your body because it is killing you. It's eating up the lining in your stomach. It's one of the causes of ulcers because it's hurting your stomach. It's hurting your intestines. And death begins in the colon. It begins in your stomach area. When that's messed up, if you don't get it fixed, you're in trouble. So therefore, he was very, very adamant about sticking with the doctors. And he said, well, God gave the doctors common sense to be able to give us the medicine and so forth. And I agree. Yes, God did give them the knowledge to give them to give people the medicines. But those are for the people that don't know nothing about what we do. Those are for the people that don't have any other resources and that don't have any other type of knowledge to know, okay, I can go to a natural, a holistic person to get help. So yeah, they're the alternative. That's the true alternative medicine. Until you get the knowledge of what is real. When you get that knowledge, then you can leave the alternative alone and come to what's real, which is life, which is plants, which is what the earth yields up. Life gives life. Death yields death. So you don't want anything that is death-causing to be in your body. But that which is life, the fruits, the vegetables, the even bark on the tree, making teas out of it and so forth, that gives life because it comes from life. So that's just a example of how people are uneducated. They're uneducated about how to utilize, how to heal themselves because they won't take the time to get a book and read and find out, okay, I can use this, that, and the other, this vegetable, this herb, this nutrition, and I can do this exercise to handle this situation of diabetes or of cancer or of lupus, whatever I'm dealing with. I can do this and that to help myself. But no, they rather have somebody tell them or utilize the phone. We got to get up and about our business and heal and be healed and learn to teach others how to heal through our experience. Because of us sitting back waiting to do or waiting for others to do for us, it ain't going to help. We ain't going to get nowhere. We're going to just continue dying off at a young age thinking that 98 is a ripe old age. That ain't old. 98 is still young. Excuse me. 98 is still young. You take it back in the Bible days when they were living 900 years old and 800 years old and so forth. However, if a day is 1,000 years to God, then what's 98 years old? That ain't nothing. That's not even an hour. So what we think is old in this day and time is not old at all. That's probably just puberty. So we have to do some research. Get into bettering ourselves, bettering our health on a more natural way without worrying about, well, my doctor said this, my doctor said that. Your doctor wants money. Your doctor gets paid for every prescription that they write. they get paid for that, and they get a cut out of that. Pharmaceuticals are $1 trillion business. They get in part of that because they might use prescriptions and saying, here, try this, here, try that. Oh, that don't work here. Well, let's try this. That's why it's called a practice, because they're practicing on you. So don't be no dummy, and don't be no practice dog. Get up, get out, and learn about how God intended us to be healthy through God's way, through God's medicine, which is the natural way, through earth. Educate yourself and be educated. They are easily discouraged because when they look on the infomercials, people are very easily discouraged by from the infomercials, and they see how they talk about losing weight, and they looking at the man and the woman, how they're cut and got the abs, they got the muscles, they're looking good, and the one that's watching isn't even nowhere near that. And the first thing that pops in their head is, well, I can't do that. I'm not, why even try? That takes too long. Like I said, we're in a fast mentality, a fast society. So to even look at it in that manner, they get discouraged. And they just turn the channel and watch a show, Love Boat or CSCI or whatever, and to make themselves feel good. But we can't get discouraged. We have to realize that that type of mentality is a grand catalyst for diabetes. Why? Because if you're not eating your green vegetables, if you're not eating your fruits in the right proportion, now, and I pause right there because fruit has sugar. It has natural sugar. But if you eat too much of that, then that can also raise your blood sugar in your system. You can eat fruit. Grapes, I love grapes. They're so sweet and they're so good. And good apples and good sweet oranges and grapefruit and all that. But if you eat too much of that, that will raise your blood sugar. So you have to even eat your fruits in the right proportion. And all in all, in doing all that, you have got to exercise. We're not eating those fruits, and we're not eating the proper meats. Instead, we're eating the white potatoes. We're eating the fried foods, the pastas and all that, all those starches, and we're setting our body up to become diseased. So how do we prevent all this? Watch what you eat. Exercise. But know this, anything that's white is not right. It has been bleached. All of the nutrients has been stripped from it. White potatoes are not good because they convert into sugar after being broken down in your system. And just like white bread, or bread period for that matter, it breaks down into sugar. We want to incorporate green leafy vegetables into our diets. Foods that has life, which in return will give you life. Eat herbs. Eat foods and herbs that help to clean you, but still gives you nutrients to the body. And here's some examples of some herbs. Some herbs that you can eat are dandelion root, especially when it comes to diabetes. You can eat dandelion root. Yes, those weeds that we grow in the yard, that we kill all the time, and say, oh, I gotta get rid of these weeds and so forth. Eat them. You can use the flour, put in your salad. They have more vitamin A than carrots. It's a great liver cleanser, great blood cleanser. I'll read it. They protect the liver, and they convert nutrients into glucose, the natural way. You can use fenugreek. Fenugreek reduces cholesterol and blood sugar levels. Ginseng tea lowers the blood sugar levels. But I tell you, don't take ginseng if you have high blood pressure. And juniper berries also lowers blood glucose levels. And there's a lot more, but those are just a few. You can utilize those while you are eating your nutritious meals, and while you are exercising, and while you're thinking properly, because the mind has a great part in it. So along with eating them correctly, incorporate exercise in your life. Walking a mile or two per day, for starters. It will create a big difference in one's life.
As you do it, it will gradually increase to 4 or 5 miles because you'll start feeling good. You'll start feeling better. You'll start moving along and you'll start seeing the results and everything. Go to the gym. Set up an exercise program with a trainer or with a gym partner. That is if you're not self-motivated. Me, I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not all that self-motivated. However, that's only when it comes to the gym. But if I have someone with me, I can work with them. I can do it. And we can encourage each other. That's what it's all about, encouraging one another. That is the physical portion of how to be able to prevent and help yourself when it comes to diabetes. Now let's take it from a mental standpoint. Like I said, you got to have a mentality too, a positive mentality when it comes to this. As I talked about in part 1, your mind is either your best friend or your worst enemy. You can think things of life or of death. When my mother, for instance, called me up one day, I was living in Kentucky, and she called me up, I was at work, and said that she was diagnosed with diabetes. The first thing I told her was that not to claim it, and to basically rebuke it. Know that you are already healed. I told her to keep saying this to yourself, and not only that, but know it. When she went back to the doctor, they could no longer find any indication of diabetes. If she had sat around and worried about what the doctor had told her and began feeling sorry for herself, she would surely have developed diabetes, because she would have begun to reject herself and neglect herself based on what the doctor had said. She would have begun to rely on the medicines that does nothing but destroy the body. She would have began to slowly decay and allow the dis-ease to overtake her. So because she didn't do that, her mind was strong, and she overcame it in her mind first, and the body manifested it. So this is one thing that you have to understand. The mind is a powerful thing. The brain is powerful too. And so is the subconscious, the spirit within. We'll talk about that in a minute. So the mental state is very important when it comes to fighting off or even preventing this type of ailment and others to the body. Your brain is very powerful and your mind is very submissive to the brain if it is under its dominance. Now this is where we're going to start getting a little bit deep. I will explain that. Your mind is what causes the manifestation of a thing, because it is like the power source of the physical and spiritual world. It is the manifester. It is a bringer forth and creator. It is what pulls from the unseen into the seen. So when we worry about certain types of ailment conditions and situations, we are sending messages to the mind. And since the mind doesn't recognize the word don't in a sentence, for instance, when we say, I don't want cancer, I don't want diabetes, the mind only recognizes you saying, I want cancer, I want diabetes. Therefore, your mind begins to manifest it in your body. As was mentioned before, the scripture says, let this mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus. This mindset is healing, positive, and holistic. Why? Because it is being led by the Spirit of God, which governs it. You see, Genesis beginning story is more than just dealing with the creation of the physical planet called Earth. When breaking it down, it is also the creation of the human body, and most important, the brain, mind, and spirit. The brain being the flesh or earth, the spirit being the heavens, the mind being the firmament, which is between the two. You hear the brain controls the body. You also hear that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Why? Because the mind is controlled by whichever is controlling it. by whichever energy or spirit is controlling it. If the brain is dominant, then the mind will back it up, will back up the will of the brain, and will manifest what it desires. This can explain why the rich gets richer and the poor gets poor. If the spirit is stronger, then the mind will manifest the will of the spirit. So what am I saying? And I really want y'all to understand this. The brain controls the body, and the mind is over the brain. So what controls the mind but the spirit or energy that governs it? If you have an earthly spirit ruling you, then it will govern the brain, and hence pull the mind. It will manifest from the unseen. The mind will manifest from the unseen. But because it is governed by temporal powers, then the things that are manifested will be temporarily in your possession. When your mind is governed by the spirit, though, that is eternal, then the brain and flesh must submit to it. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Weak to the Spirit of God that rules the mind. So when we think and desire things from the spiritual standpoint, it manifests in the spiritual. It manifests in the physical. But it is eternal because the eternal has gave it to us through the portal of the mind into the physical realm. So in doing that, we must understand that if you have a mindset that is already conditioned to peace and positivity, then you won't have to worry about acquiring this type of ailment or others, because you will be in acceptance to yourself and everything about you, knowing that whatever God created knowing that whatever God created is God, and regardless is good, and regardless of what other people say and judge, they can't be God-given. With a positive mind, you are open to learning new lessons instead of seeing situations as hindrances and holdbacks. You will take pleasure in suffering rather than moan and groan about it. It's just like Paul said, I take pleasure in my infirmities and glory in them. I paraphrase that because I don't know the whole scripture verbatim. So, but those of you who know the scripture, y'all know what I'm talking about. When you're going through your situations, you're able to keep a positive mindset because you know that knowing the Lord will bless you will make your burden seem all right. You're seeing God's blessings in the midst of learning the lessons. Those lessons is what God has for you, so you won't have to repeat the same thing over and over and time again. Now, that just touches on the mindset, because when it comes to any type of dis-ease in your mind, you have to have a positive mind. When it comes to cancer is a disease of anger. It's an angry disease. Most people that deal with anger issues, holding back or holding anger in themselves, they develop cancer because they never released it. People that have diabetes, they deal with rejection and low self-esteem and so forth. They have these things because they have not released it. So people have got to learn to release. If somebody has hurt you, if you feel a certain way about yourself, you have to release it. You have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive other people. So that way, that burden and that energy can be released from you. Now, let's move on to the spiritual way of counteracting this disease. There are 4 or more bodies before the physical body even manifests. One of those bodies is called the spiritual body. The others will be talked about in my presentation entitled The Anatomy of the Brain, Mind, and Consciousness. Sickness begins on these levels of consciousness first, the physical state. The physical state or manifestation is usually the last stage before death, to put it bluntly. How does this happen? One aspect given by a young lady who is a good friend of mine named Julia James now, she spoke these words, and I quote, "Diabetes is a representation of deep sorrow and or longing for what might have been, a need to control, having lack of sweetness in one's life." The affirmation that she gives is this moment is filled with joy. I now choose to experience sweetness, the sweetness of today. You may ask, how does this have anything to do with diabetes and counteracting it and healing it? When you pluck a plant from the root, it can't come back unless there are seeds left behind from the plant to start over again. Your spiritual body is one of those sources of the ailment. Why? Because when you are grieved, angry, talked about, or whichever caused you pain, mentally or physically, it has to pass through the spiritual body to get to the physical body. It first goes through the energetic body, then it goes through the mental body, then the spiritual body, then it manifests through the physical body, then you die, to put it bluntly. If you have found peace within a situation before it reaches the physical body, then you won't have to worry about the disease manifesting. But if you are holding on to a situation that happened to you years ago, then it will manifest as a sickness in your flesh. And when you think about it, just think about it for a second. The flesh is a mirror or manifestation of your spirit. So whatever is wrong with you in the physical, it is your true self showing you what is wrong with it in the spirit. Learn the language and signs of the God within, you. You see, it is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profits nothing. We must understand that our spirit speaks to us through us. And when we can learn to listen, and we can learn to recognize and see that, then life for us will be a whole lot easier and a whole lot better. What is the language of the Spirit of God? Forgiveness, love, peace, joy, happiness, positivity, patience, prayer, belief, faith, knowing. We must have these for ourselves and for others, especially those that have wronged us. We must also learn to forgive ourselves for being even angry with them. Also love ourselves and not reject ourselves, nor neglect to give ourselves love. That's the problem. We don't love ourselves and we don't give ourselves love. We give our love outside of ourselves, thinking that everything is going to be okay because we're giving it outside of ourselves. No, we have to bring that love in first. Because if we can't love ourselves, then we truly can't love other people. See what I'm saying? And we must manifest that love within. And when we can do that, others will feel that from us. So how do you do that? How do you even begin to do that? Well, first of all, you want to be patient with yourself. Show kindness to yourself. Buy yourself an outfit. A pair of shoes, whatever. Fix yourself up. You don't necessarily have to be fixed up to go somewhere. Fix yourself up and just kind of like enjoy life and enjoy being in the house, but looking good. Pamper yourself. Give yourself a compliment. Look in the mirror, blow yourself a kiss. Smile, like, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Love yourself. You know, admire yourself. It don't have to be in pride. It don't have to be in what's that word? Where you're just so in love with yourself. It's not like that. You're giving yourself attention. That's what we gotta do. Give ourselves attention. Find the sweetness. Love who you are, and find the sweetness in you. And you can give that sweetness to others and help them counteract and heal the diabetes on a metaphysical level in their life. Because when you heal it on a metaphysical level, when you heal it on a spiritual level, then you heal it on a mental level, and you heal it on a physical level. You got to start with the root. Now, I know I have spoke on a lot of different aspects, and I know I brought forth a lot of different points. I encourage you, I implore you, and I ask you, if you have any questions, email me, ogbomodu99@yahoo.com. ogbomodu99@yahoo.com. Email me. If you want to leave remarks on the YouTube or on my Facebook, do so. My Facebook, Ezekiel Nelson. Very simple. YouTube, Ezekiel Nelson /Heavenly Healing, or HHOM Diabetes, Part 1 or Part 2. Or go to my channel, which is also, you should see it connected in there. Go to my channel, it has all, it will have, but it'll have all three of these and then some of that I'm doing. Spread it, share it, you know, and let other people experience the knowledge. If you want to just call me up, you know, 813-431-2274. Let me know how you liking it. Give me some feedback. I have no problem with that. You know, it will be professional. And like I said, if you have, if you want to add to what I'm speaking of, feel free, because I'm ever learning. We're all ever learning. I want to give you all thanks, so much thanks and appreciation for listening to me, for spreading my video, sharing my video, and for giving me the feedback that you have given me. I really appreciate that, because it means a lot to me, and it helps keep me on my game and keep me learning. So God bless all of you. I give you love, thanks, and much appreciation as I come and go in peace. I say Ashe. Amen.